Good morning, everyone. Myself, Dr. Krishnamurthy, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Chemistry, JSS Arts, Science and Commerce College, Gokak, which is affiliated to Rani Channamma University, Belagavi. So, last class we discussed about the concept environmental chemistry, the meaning of environmental chemistry, and the components involved in the environmental chemistry. Then, pollutants or the contaminants and the variety of contaminants, then finally the application of environmental chemistry. So last class we studied, this is the continuation part. So today we'll discuss about the environmental pollution. So this is very important, environmental pollution. So as we know, the meaning environmental pollution is any unnatural and negative changes in all the dimensions like chemical, physical and biological characteristics of any component of the ecosystem, that is air, water or soil, which can cause harmful effects on various forms of life and property is called environmental pollution. So once again, so any unnatural and negative changes in all the dimensions like chemical, physical and biological characteristics of any component of the ecosystem, that is air, water or soil, which can cause harmful effects on various forms of life and property is called environmental pollution. So this is the picture which represents various environmental pollution like air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, noise pollution, thermal pollution, so etc. So next, environment pollution is the addition of contaminants into the natural environment that causes detrimental effects to nature, natural resources and mankind. So the next, pollutant, as we know, the meaning of pollutant, it is a substance which causes harmful effects or uneasiness in the organisms. Then that particular substance may be called as the pollutant or contaminant. So next, the materials which cause pollution are of two types. So there are two types in pollution, that is persistent pollutants, non-persistent pollutants. So persistent pollutants, these are those pollutants which remain consistent in the environment for a long period of time without any change in its original form are called persistent pollutants. For example, pesticides, nuclear wastes and plastics, etc. So these are persistent pollutants. So next one, non-persistent pollutants. So these pollutants are the opposite of persistent pollutant and break down in the simple form. If this process of breaking down is done by living organisms, then such pollutants are referred to as biodegradable pollutants. This is one type. From another perspective, pollutants can be classified as follows, that is primary pollutants and secondary pollutants. Primary pollutants are those which remain in the form in which they were added to the environment, for example DDT, plastic, etc. Whereas secondary pollutants are formed due to the interaction of primary pollutants amongst themselves. For example, PAN nothing but peroxyacetyl nitrate by the interaction of nitrogen oxides and hydrocarbons. So next, according to origins, there are two types, man-made pollutants, natural pollutants. So next classification, according to their existence in nature, quantitative pollutants, qualitative pollutants. Quantitative pollutants, nothing but these substances are already present in the atmosphere, but they become pollutant when their concentration level reaches to a particular level which is above a threshold limit. So this is called quantitative pollutants. Qualitative pollutants, nothing but these are man-made pollutants. For example, fungicides, herbicides, etc. Next, according to the nature of disposal, there are two types: biodegradable pollutants, non-biodegradable pollutants. So next, the types of pollution or the types of environmental pollution, that is air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, or it is land pollution, noise pollution, radioactive or nuclear pollution, thermal pollution, light pollution, marine pollution or ocean pollution. So these are some different types of pollution. So let us discuss one by one in detail. So first one is air pollution. So there is a certain percentage of gases present in the atmosphere. An increase or decrease in the composition of these gases is harmful to the survival. This imbalance in the gaseous composition has resulted in an increase in Earth's atmosphere, so which is known as global warming. So here the air pollution refers to any physical, chemical or biological change in the air. It is the contamination of air by harmful gases, dust and smoke which affects plants, animals and humans drastically. So that is called air pollution. So we see the in the different pictures that represents air pollution. So next is types of air pollutants. So an air pollutant is known as a substance in the air that can cause harm to humans and the environment. So the pollutants can be in the form of solid particles or liquid droplets or gases. In addition, they may be natural or man-made. So majorly there are two types of air pollutants. One is primary pollutants and secondary pollutants. Primary pollutants are the substances which are directly emitted from a process, such as ash from a volcanic eruption, the carbon monoxide gas from a motor vehicle exhaust, or sulfur dioxide released from factories. So these are primary pollutants. And the second one, secondary pollutants. These are not emitted directly, rather they form in the air when primary pollutants react or interact. An important example of a secondary pollutant is ground level ozone is one of the many secondary pollutants that causes photochemical smog. So next, primary pollutants produced by human activity. Primary pollutants produced by human activity. So number one, carbon monoxide. So carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless, non-irritating but very poisonous gas. It is a product by incomplete combustion of fuel such as natural gas, coal or wood. Vehicular exhaust is a major source of carbon monoxide. The second one is carbon dioxide. So it is a greenhouse gas emitted from combustion but is also a gas to living organisms. So it is a natural gas in the atmosphere. So next is sulfur oxides. So here sulfur dioxide is produced by volcanoes and in various industrial processes. Since coal and petroleum often contain sulfur compounds, their combustion generates sulfur dioxide. Further, oxidation of sulfur dioxide is usually in the presence of a catalyst such as nitrogen dioxide forms a sulfuric acid and thus leads to the acid rain. So this is one of the causes for concern over the environmental impact of the use of these fuels as power sources. So next is the nitrogen oxides. So especially nitrogen dioxide is emitted from high temperature combustion. So it is responsible for photochemical smog, acid rain, etc. So next one is volatile organic compounds, VOCs. Volatile organic compounds. So these are an important outdoor air pollutant. So in this field, they are often divided into the separate categories of methane and non-methane. Methane is an extremely efficient greenhouse gas which contributes to enhanced global warming. So next is a particulate matter. So particulates, alternatively referred to as particulate matter, or fine particles or tiny particles of solid or liquid suspended in a gas. Then toxic metals such as lead, cadmium and copper. Then chlorofluorocarbons. So these are harmful to the ozone layer emitted from products currently banned from use. Then lastly, radioactive pollutants. So these are produced by nuclear explosion, war explosives and natural processes such as the radioactive decay of radon. So these are primary pollutants. So next, secondary pollutants. So secondary pollutants include number one, particulate matter. So particulate matter formed from gaseous primary pollutants and compounds in photochemical smog. So as we know, smog is a kind of air pollution. So the word smog is the combination of smoke and fog. So here two types. Classic smog results from large amounts of coal burning in an area caused by a mixture of smoke and sulfur dioxide. While modern smog does not usually come from coal but from vehicular and industrial emissions that are acted on in the atmosphere by sunlight to form secondary pollutants that also combine with the primary emissions to form photochemical smog. And the second one is ground level ozone. So these are formed from nitrogen oxides and volatile organic compounds. Ozone is a key constituent of the troposphere. The photochemical and chemical reactions involving it drive many of the chemical processes that occur in the atmosphere by day and by night. At abnormally high concentrations brought about by human activities. So that is largely the combustion of fossil fuel. So it is a pollutant and a constituent of smog. And the last one is third one, peroxyacetyl nitrate, that is PAN. Similarly, it is formed from nitrogen oxides and volatile organic compounds, and it is a dangerous air pollutant, mostly affects our respiratory system and also the nervous system. So in this class we learn about the environmental pollution, then types of environmental pollution, and in particularly go to the air pollution. In air pollution and the types of air pollutions learn in this class. Thank you.